Midseason Showdown that we casted here back in the Ultra Series.
And starting 6-0, newcomer indeed. We just haven't put him on stream yet, is all that happened.
Yeah, so he was the #1 seed, being the only undefeated in Swiss, and he's bringing a team of Raichu, Excadrill, Gyarados, Snorlax, Rotom, Mow, and Togekiss, and Abdul's team we've seen before. We got Dragapult, Rhyperior, Gastrodon, Dusclops, Arcanine, and Togekiss.
A lot going on Adam's team. We're going to focus on his right now because we've seen Abdul's before, and honestly, it's kind of boring. Adam has the Raichu plus Gyarados with Lightning Rod, which protects it from electric moves like the Volt Switch on the Rotom on... There's no Rotom. Would have protected it from a Volt Switch or something along those lines. The interesting thing is that Raichu also gets Speed Swap. We saw a lot of Speed Swap dynamics in the last game with the Ribombe and the Mudsdale. Now we might see it with the Raichu and the Snorlax. Otherwise, something that Adam needs to keep in mind when he plays is not to Volt Switch into his own Raichu.
Right.
When, for example, if he wants to hit another Gyarados or something along those lines, he actually has to watch out for his own Lightning Rod. He has 2 electric types, which we don't see that often, because there aren't really that many electric types besides the Rotom.
Yeah, because as we've seen that the electric type Lightning Rod, or the Lightning Rod ability, not really going to come into play unless, Adam decides to activate it on its own, which hopefully doesn't happen for him at least. But we're going to see Abdul lead off with the Rhyperior and Togekiss. Meanwhile, Adam is going to lead with the Togekiss and the Gyarados.
Interesting. The Gyarados puts a lot of pressure on the Rhyperior, but the Togekiss on both sides of the field can redirect the hits. In all honesty, I'm more scared of the Rhyperior than I am of the Gyarados because I can actually knock out the Togekiss with a max Rockfall. Was the Gyarados, the Gyarados proc the Intimidate?
Yes.
It wasn't? Okay. So I think still that a -1 Rockfall would knock out the Togekiss.
The Togekiss, potentially. Okay, so we're going to see the Excadrill switch in here with... switch out here for the Gyarados. Togekiss also going to switch, so Adam pulling just a double switch turn 1.
That's
switch
very
into
risky in this format because you just lose a lot of initial damage. Another switch. Nothing wants to stay on the field.
Yeah, Adam potentially predicting Abdul to switch out his Rhyperior with the threat of the Gyarados into... being super effective and all, but he does have that redirection, so I guess it wasn't too bad for him initially. But Abdul gonna go for the Yawn here, punishing Adam's Rotom switch in.
Abdul gets the Arcanine in, which does threaten the Excadrill. I believe we saw earlier that Abdul's Arcanine is fast, likely faster than the Excadrill, and thus faster than the Rotom unless it's Scarf. Having the option to break the Focus Sash on the Excadrill, having intimidated it with Snarl, also reducing the special attack on the Rotom. The Rotom just took the Yawn, but the Rotom can Volt Switch out and would not then be affected by the Yawn. So we can see what the Arcanine on Abdul's side of the field chooses to go to. I imagine that Adam goes for a Volt Switch on this turn. Abdul trying to catch the Volt Switch with his Rhyperior on the Togekiss and protecting with the Arcanine to get the sleep on the Rotom unless the Rotom side Volt Switch. That's a very exciting turn.
Well, we're going to see just the Thunderbolt. I was going to comment how we've been seeing a lot of switching in this game, but the Pokemon that, is going to fall asleep
that I thought was going to leave.
That we thought was going to switch out ends up not switching out, and what this means for Adam is that his Rotom Mow is now going to bed.
I really like the way that Abdul tried to cover that turn. The only thing that would have made that scary is if he Leaf Stormed into the Togekiss, which switched into the Rhyperior.
Yes.
But he had 2 grass resists out on the field at that time. He had Arcanine and he had Togekiss. So Leaf Storm was a very risky play, and the most likely position was Volt Switch or a Hard Switch. So I really like the way that Abdul tried to cover that.
Yeah, it's just it's kind of a tough situation for both players, right? Because both of them are just trying to maneuver around each other's pieces. Meanwhile, both of them are both sides are threatening Intimidates. Both sides have Pokemon that can hit each other for super effective damage. So I think they're just kind of maneuvering their pieces around and trying to get into a position where they can try to finally do something.
Up until this point, not a single damaging attack has actually successfully landed. However, we have now seen the Dynamax from the Togekiss not really able to do too much damage against the Arcanine or the Togekiss, especially if there's a Snarl coming out. Whisk from the Arcanine neuters the Gyarados, protecting the Arcanine from the Gyarados' damage.
That's pretty big.
The Togekiss, at most, is going to max Airstream or max Starfall into the Togekiss, and that's not going to do anything.
Yeah, so Adam deciding to use his Dynamax on his Togekiss. Not normally a Pokemon that you see Dynamax. Well, some Togekiss in this format have been running more offensively, and we still really don't know a lot about Adam's Togekiss yet.
You do tend to see it like in positions against opposing Dragapults or something, where you just want to get a little bit of extra damage with the Starfall instead of the Dazzling Gleam. Either way, so far the damage on Adam's side of the field and on Abdul's has been pretty underwhelming. But even still, it's underwhelming even though Adam went for the Dynamax and brought in his Gyarados. It's pressing Dragon Dance and still not really doing anything.
Yeah, we're just, not really seeing a whole lot of damage coming out from either side. Adam just trying to make up for that Will-O-Wisp by just trying to get his attack back up with the Max Airstreams and with the Dragon Dances, and now getting his speed much higher now with the Dragon Dance plus the Max Airstream.
Still not doing too much damage, and Yawn right into the Togekiss, trying to force that out as well, put that to sleep too. The Rotom in the back is asleep, the Gyarados is burned, Togekiss might be losing its Dynamax. Abdul hasn't done any damage, but he's still in the driving seat.
Yeah, like even though Abdul hasn't been doing a lot of damage, he's still been getting ahead in this game. He still feels very much ahead in this game, and he's playing that positioning game really well now because he's been getting the burn on the Gyarados to mitigate his damage output. He's burning Adam's Dynamax by making it switch out because of the Yawn, and he's just been putting himself in a position to where he can get ahead in the game.
Follow Me from the Togekiss keeps the Gyarados from even getting the damage onto the Arcanine. While it is burned, +1 Waterfall would still do a lot to the Arcanine. Arcanine has the opportunity to Flamethrower the Togekiss spot, hitting the Excadrill, but instead getting a Snarl, breaking what is likely the Excadrill's Focus Sash, reducing the damage on the Togekiss had it stayed in. Well, there was no real point to that Snarl.
Yeah, because it sounded like he was hitting well, I guess
the Togekiss
because
like
you would anticipate that the Togekiss would be switching out, so like lowering special attack wouldn't be too much of a concern.
It either stays in and falls asleep, or switches out to Excadrill, or switches out to Rotom. I just think a Flamethrower into that slot is much better than a Snarl there.
I guess it's just chip damage, but we're just gonna see Adam keep going for Dragon Dances. Now, this is the kind of the point where if you're Abdul, you're kind of thinking like, okay, I've kind of let this Gyarados sit here for long enough,
right? Yeah, like if he'd Flamethrower into the Excadrill, while he wouldn't have knocked out the Excadrill by any means, he'd be in a better spot. Now he just lost his Arcanine for no reason. Yeah,
so even though how we were talking about, Abdul getting slightly ahead in this game, he's in a position now where he's starting to sort of get scared of that Gyarados, because now it's mitigated the attack drop from Burns, because now it has gotten up 3 Dragon Dances.
Yeah.
And now it's really fast and, still what's the equivalent of +1 attack. And, depending on what this Gyarados has, it can start just mowing through this team.
Dragapult is a good thing to have in the back to be able to respond to a boosted Gyarados, though, because it resists water and it's not weak to flying.
The question is, if Gyarados has something like Ice Fang.
That's fair. I don't think Ice Fang really does anything.
They usually don't. They usually have like Power Whip, but I mean, Ice Fang is always a possibility, and it would be a very bad thing to see if you're Abdul.
I agree with that, but if it is, for example, Waterfall, Bounce, Dragon Dance, Protect, the Dragapult's in a pretty strong spot in front of that Gyarados.
Especially now since he can Dynamax.
Yeah, and then the Dragapult's Dynamax into the Excadrill with the broken Focus Sash is probably going to be pretty effective, especially with a helping hand coming from Abdul's Togekiss. The Excadrill probably gets knocked out pretty easily. The Waterfall does not knock out the Togekiss, which is great. Great for Abdul.
Yeah, helping hand Max Phantasm probably just going to be enough to take a knockout on Gyarados, which it does.
I agree with the targeting there, because the Excadrill stays on the field. And the Excadrill can't do too much damage to the Dragapult. I think that Adam is kind of forced to go into his Togekiss here, and even still, the Excadrill is not going to knock out the Dragapult, and then the Dragapult can get another knockout on the Togekiss, or on the Excadrill the turn afterwards. So I really do like this position for Abdul now, which is crazy considering the position he's in before. But a helping hand, Max Phantasm, and just knock out the Togekiss from here.
Yeah, like Abdul's just put himself in a fantastic position just to clean up this game with the Dynamax Dragapult. Yeah.
Especially if he has anything in the back that can respond to the Excadrill.
Yeah, but now I think he's just free to click helping hand and just start picking up KOs.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess the only thing that would stop this is extra drill protecting, but instead going to go for the Max Phantasm into the Togekiss, which is just going to easily pick up the knockout there.
I mean, I agree with that targeting too. Togekiss tends not to have the move slots to be able to run protect, and then the Excadrill damage we saw before, it just doesn't do enough to the Dragapult at this moment to care.
And you still have one more Max Phantasm
And we have
left.
one more Max Phantasm. And the Rotom is asleep and hasn't taken a sleep turn yet.
Yeah, Rotom comes back in, and it's basically guaranteed to have a sleep turn. And
you might consider just Max Phantasming into the Rotom and just yawning the Excadrill, for example, because the Rotom is a guaranteed knockout. If the Excadrill hits the Togekiss, then you still have the Dragapult at +1, I think, at Dragon Danced. And if not, you just have an Excadrill falling asleep the following turn.
Yeah, Yawn is super pinning in this position because, like you said, you don't have the ability to switch out the Excadrill anymore. But nope, Togekiss just going to go for another Helping Hand here. Just going to go for another Max Phantasm, this time into the Excadrill. Will this be enough to... It is enough to KO.
It's at -2 defense at this point.
Oh, yeah, because of the
It's
other two
gone.
Max Phantasms. Yeah, because even though the Max Phantasms haven't been going into the Excadrill, they've still been weakening the Excadrill significantly.
Yeah, it's going to get knocked out, I think, regardless of the Helping Hand. That's why I don't see the point of that Helping Hand.
And now even with the
he
-1,
might have actually been considering knocking it out through Protect.
right.
If it's at -2 defense and then the Helping Hand, that's ×3, and then he's at Dragon Dance. Like, if the Life Orb Max Phantasm was OHKOing the Excadrill, I think it was dying through Protect, which it might be what he was going through for, which is cool.
Yeah, after all those defense drops and from those Max Phantasms, like honestly, like, can we just talk about how Abdul just like got his Dragapult in and then just
said, "I'm
won
winning
the
now."
game? Yeah, he was like,
just said,
"Hey,
"It's over.
I'm
I've
winning the
won now."
entire game."
And I really like the way he maneuvered that, even though he just lost his Arcanine against the Excadrill. I guess he just didn't care, because then he brought the Dragapult in and he's like, "Okay, I win now."
Yeah, like it was like he just kind of got himself into that position and just started winning the game. Crazy, absolutely crazy. Dragapult. If there's anything we've learned from stream today, guys, it's that Dragapult, great Pokemon, fantastic Pokemon. Put it on your teams. It's a great Pokemon. It's like the amount of games that we've seen Dragapult just single-handedly win. Today has been crazy. I mean, Dragapult's a great Pokemon, but I mean, if you haven't seen the power of Dragapult by this point, that should tell you right there. Dragapult, amazing Pokemon. Dragapult Togekiss, top tier combo. I just noticed we got raided by Summit City Gym. Thank you guys so much. I really appreciate that. I couldn't really give you guys a shout out during the commentary, but I just want to take a minute to shout out to all you guys in the chat that are still watching, and also shout out to Summit City Gym. You guys are amazing. Congrats on your stream, guys, today, and thank you so much for the raid. And we're back going into Game 2.
Who raided us?
Summit City Gym.
Nice. Game 2 starting back up. Both players are raring to go. I'm curious to see if we see a strategy adjustment from Adam, because he just didn't ever have anything going on for most of that set. All the damage he did really was just the Earthquake from the Excadrill into the Arcanine, and Abdul's like, okay. There's a phone going off behind us. We apologize all, because that's not our phone, so we can't deal with that. We just gotta deal with it, because I'm not allowed to touch that.
Yeah, we kind of just have to let it go. Luckily, only 2 rings.
Two rings? That means, what does 2 rings mean in the tarot card universe?
I have no idea. That's a reference that is beyond me.
Oh, I don't know, just
But, what was I gonna say? Oh yeah, so like you were saying, the beginning of Game 1 was just very slow and passive, but then we just kind of... at the end it was just like bang, KO after KO, and Dragapult just cleaned up the game with the help from Togekiss. But speaking of Togekiss, we're going to see 2 of them facing each other.
So I do like this adjustment as well from Abdul, from Adam, because there isn't really much spread damage going on Abdul's side of the field. So he's very susceptible to a turn 1 Belly Drum Follow Me. And then a turn 2 Follow Me into the Yawn as he smacks the Togekiss, assuming the Togekiss doesn't switch into Dragapult.
Yeah.
So this is the freest Follow Me Belly Drum of Adam's life.
Yeah, because like you said, Abdul just doesn't have enough offensive pressure coming out from his Togekiss and his Arcanine just to stop that Snorlax.
I don't know why there's a max though. I don't get that.
Yeah, the Dynamax turn 1. I mean, this could be Togekiss.
It has to be the Togekiss on Abdul's side of the field. That's the only thing that makes any sense.
No, it's on Adam's side of the field.
Why did he do that?
I'm not sure. I guess we're going to find out in this turn. I mean, I guess, like...
What?
I really...
I was so happy.
Starfall. Oh, okay. I mean, this sort of makes so.
This will block the
yeah,
yawn.
This will block yawn, but it'll also block Will-O-Wisp.
Only on the Snorlax though. Yeah. And if he follow Mead and then did that, and he did it on the Togekiss, so who cares? Like you knew that.
So this is another. Oh wait, hold on. The score needs to be fixed.
Well, at the very least, that worked, I guess, for Adam because now he can max Airstream with the Togekiss to get a.
Oh, did?
I believe the stream froze for us. What the heck?
It's still good.
Let me try it here first. Are you not having issues there?
Okay, sorry guys, we're just having
there seems to be some sort of Wi-Fi connectivity issues potentially. If someone in the chat can confirm whether the stream is going, that'd be excellent. If that is the case, we would be seeing stream is going. That's great. Thank you so much. The Togekiss on the side of the field is switching out from Adam, but the Snorlax, I don't know why. Well, he's immune to the yawn, which is cool, so we can knock out the Togekiss. But I would have liked to see an Airstream to make the Snorlax faster.
Yeah, I mean, we go for... Well, okay,
to
so
avoid the flinches.
Yeah. So the Max Starfall, I mean, I guess sort of makes sense because you're blocking any form of status, but like you said, not on the Togekiss because Togekiss is off the ground, so therefore it's immune to the benefits of the respective terrain here. But
like now the Snorlax can just get flinched by Air Slash. I don't get it.
Yeah, well, that's if he has Air Slash. I don't think we've seen Air Slash from Abdul's Togekiss yet. But we're just going to see a Helping Hand here. Helping Hand Max Knuckle. Is this going into the Snorlax?
It's not going to knock it out.
It's still going to do a ton of damage, and now it's going to mitigate the Intimidate that just came out onto it.
The Togekiss is going to get knocked out by this frustration, and then the Rhyperior is going to get hit by the Waterfall, but it's not going to get knocked out by the Waterfall at all. The Rhyperior is in a pretty strong position. If the Snorlax on Adam's side of the field has Protect, you could Protect and switch Garrett, like Protect and then sack the something to bring in Togekiss to follow me to hit the Dragapult with the high horsepower, but like Abdul has a lot of damage on the field right now, and I just don't think he cares.
Yeah, especially with Dragapult coming in now. He's just gonna click the Dragon Dance button. He's like, you know, this kind of worked out really well for me in the last game, even though that was without Dragon Dance, mind you. But Adam just gonna say, hey, I see your Dragon Dance. I'm gonna raise you a Dragon. I'll match you a Dragon Dance.
I get it though. If he knocks out the Gyarados and the Snorlax got to attack, and if he doesn't knock out the Gyarados, then Gyarados is the option to Protect to stall at the third turn of Dynamax in order to get the knockout with Waterfall on the following turn. But I don't think he now has that option because the Dragapult's at +2 attack from the Max Knuckle.
And definitely going to be faster than that Gyarados.
Definitely faster than the Gyarados, but not locked into... and able to probably knock it out with Dragon Claw, so the Togekiss here is looking really cool. I think Adam just needs to hope he crits the Rhyperior this turn, because, or he can Protect Gyarados. I don't know. I think he has to crit the Rhyperior.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of awkward for. Well, actually, no, not really, because I mean, like,
no,
he
just
kind of
forces and then Max Rocks. He doesn't care. Like,
yeah,
he needs to crit the Rhyperior here because there wasn't any way the Togekiss could get protected.
Oh no, okay. Saw the HP go down pretty quickly, and weakness policy coming. Yeah, goodbye Togekiss.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Good night Togekiss.
That's why he just had to crit the Rhyperior. I don't know what happened in this game. Something did. I just don't know what it was.
It's called Abdul just won.
Oh man, crit on the Togekiss.
Wow, that Togekiss really just got sent into the next dimension.
It was at +4, and then it got crit. So that's a +6 like, max rock
that's
ball.
That's just out of the building.
That was a +6 max rock ball. If you want to tell us how much that did, chat, do a max 252 adamant Rhyperior at +6 max rock fall against max bull Togekiss, and tell me how much that did.
It probably kills 2 of them.
I want to know how much that did. Someone tell me how much that did.
But yeah, you know, Rhyperior gonna get out of its Dynamax here.
Destroyed by this Phantom Force, so.
Yeah, but I mean, like at this point, Rhyperior has done its job.
I'm sorry, I meant Gyarados is getting destroyed.
Yeah, one of these Pokemon is gonna get destroyed by this Phantom Force. Ideally, it's Gyarados, and it is gonna be Gyarados. Goodbye, Gyarados.
Yeah, I don't know what Adam does. Thank you so much for showing me that would have died through Protect.
That almost KOs 5 of them.
That would have killed it through Protect. Thank you, James. I appreciate that.
It almost KOs 5 of them.
Well,
At least 4.
Abdul's moving on to top 4. Adam showed us a strong showing in Swiss, but unfortunately for him, was not really able to deal with the damage from the early game Rhyperior and then the Dragon Dance on the Dragapult. And I think, like, I don't really necessarily agree with Adam's turn 1s and turn 2s.
Yeah, I just think, like, Adam's attempts to set himself up just didn't
Didn't work.
go.
I wanted to see a Follow Me Belly Drum turn 1, and then you can max the Snorlax. And then do stuff with that. Like, he wasted the Belly Drum, or the Follow Me with the... Yeah, he wasted the Dynamax with the Togekiss turn 1 by Dynamaxing it, not doing anything.
Yeah, just not really being proactive enough.
The board was Arcanine Togekiss versus Togekiss Snorlax.